I'm speechless. When this news arrived, no one could hide their shock. And the best part, I received exclusive details that haven't yet leaked. Things are heating up and you'll find out everything now. Anticipation is high, fans are counting down, and training camp restrictions will be lifted in a few days. But amid the optimism and excitement about the Eagles' new season, one detail is starting to bother us. And it's not a small one. What should have been a contractual formality has become an impasse that could jeopardize the team's defensive plans from the start. Drew Mukuba, the 64th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, has yet to sign his primary contract. And this delay goes far beyond simple bureaucracy. It exposes a silent problem that is spreading across the NFL and putting the Eagles at a dangerous crossroads. Mukuba, projected to play key snaps at defensive back from day one, is the last missing piece in the team's rookie class. And while the franchise is avoiding alarmism, the number 24's absence from practice could mean more than a delay. It could represent a significant loss of time in adapting to the defensive scheme. And that's a luxury new coordinator Vic Fangio can't afford. The Eagles' defense was redesigned for 2025 with a new philosophy demanding tactical intelligence, quick communication, and precise execution. A delayed warm-up is literally one less cog in a mechanism that's still being tested. But why this delay? The answer lies in the new signing trend that took over this year's second round. After the Texans and Browns offered high guaranteed values for the 32nd and 33rd picks, several players' agents met the same standard. The result was a stagnation in negotiations that directly affected players like Mukuba. The number of signings at the beginning of last week was still extremely low. Only 2 second-round picks had signed. Now, even with some progress, 6 remain unsigned, including Mukuba, TJ Sanders, Bills, Will Johnson, Cardinals, Femi Oladejo, and Benjamin Morrison, both Buccaneers. Meanwhile, the Eagles are ramping up the pressure. The city experienced a similar situation over a decade ago in 2011, when Deshaun Jackson missed the first 11 days of training camp due to a contract dispute. But since then, the front office, especially under Howie Roseman, has always strived to avoid this kind of drama. In 2021, Landon Dickerson also had his time, but he signed for a limited time, just 2 days before the start of training camp. This year, Mukuba still shows no signs of being close to a conclusion. And with time running out, every day off the field represents a step backward in preparation. The absence of the number 24 jersey becomes even more symbolic when considering the history of the players who wore that number in Philadelphia. It's a number steeped in history, representing aggression, energy, and extreme dedication. It would be ironic and frustrating to see this number off the field on the first day of practice, just as the franchise is trying to establish a new standard for defensive intensity. The situation also affects the team's mental health. Having a draft partner still in negotiations can create uncertainty within the group and disrupt the team's rhythm. Furthermore, it creates a public narrative that diverts focus from the positive aspects of the offseason. With the national media on the lookout for any sign of disorganization, this kind of off-field noise can quickly fuel criticism and speculation. There is still a silver lining. Sources close to the franchise believe Roseman can replicate the 2021 strategy and resolve the impasse in the final minutes. But patience has its limits, and practice is about to begin. The question looming over the NovaCare complex is direct and urgent. Will Drew Mukuba be on the field on day one? Because if it isn't, the first chapter of the Eagles' 2025 season already begins with a loss and a shadow over the long-awaited defensive overhaul. And speaking of defense and expectations, get ready because one name is already trending among the contenders for the NFL's biggest individual award for defensive backs. Jaylen Carter is about to turn all that expectation into reality. While Drew Mukuba remains sidelined, negotiating every line of his contract, another name within the Eagles' locker room is gaining traction by the day. And we're not just talking about hype or promising projections. We're talking about a real star already impacting the present and seemingly destined to shape the future of Philadelphia's defense. Jaylen Carter, the powerful defensive tackle trained in Georgia, is attracting attention from all sides, from the media to the coaching staff, from teammates to fans. And now, with the 2025 season just around the corner, he's starting to be mentioned among the top contenders for the NFL Defensive Player of the Year award. That's right. Carter can't just dominate the middle of the defensive line. He can win the entire league. Fox Sports has just just released its first list of odds for the award, and Carter appears in the top 10, tied with Bengals pass rusher Trey Hendrickson. This mention isn't gratuitous, nor is it overly generous. It was built on a solid foundation of real, proven performance on the field. In 2024, Carter tallied 42 total tackles, 4.5 sacks, and an incredible 53 pressures, a number that placed him ninth among interior defensive linemen in total pressures, according to Pro Football Focus. His direct influence on plays was a key factor in the Eagles' Lombardi Trophy victory, but the most fascinating thing, and for opponents the most frightening, is knowing that Carter is still far from reaching his ceiling. He's only 24 years old. He's still assimilating the finer technical aspects of the position. He's still absorbing the professional-level offensive reading with the calm and results that only experience brings. And even then, it's practically impossible in certain situations. What he does with his brutal strength, his explosiveness at the line, and his ability to block multiple positions is something typically seen in 6 to 8 year NFL players. Carter is doing it 2 seasons into his career. His 2023 debut was already worthy of respect. He finished second in the Defensive Rookie of the Year voting. In 2024, he not only maintained his level, but also made progress. He made the Pro Bowl, was a second-half All-Pro, and showed that he's not a one-off talent, but a constant nightmare for any offensive line. He has a rare ability to control the trenches and still generate pressure like edge rushers, something only the greatest names in league history have mastered. And now, Carter is joining that conversation. Last week, he was ranked the 3rd best defensive tackle in the NFL, trailing only established names like Dexter Lawrence II, Giants, and Chris Jones, Chiefs. This places Carter in an elite category, and according to the Eagles coaches, the number 98's focus this offseason has been on matching and surpassing these direct rivals. In practice, he's not content with just basic reps. He studies every detail of the blocker's movements, refines his gap reading, and is further developing his ability to win hand-to-hand with explosiveness and intelligence. The mission is clear: to become the best in the league at what he does. Furthermore, Carter's impact within the organization is also mental. He is already seen as one of the leaders of the defense despite his young age. His work ethic, intensity, and constant pursuit of excellence inspire other players around him. This makes him not only a difference on the field, but also an invisible engine behind the scenes. The coaches know, with a defense still full of question marks, especially in the secondary, where Mukuba is missed, Carter needs to be the anchor. He is the foundation of a system that is still under construction, and everything depends on his consistency and aggressiveness. In 2025, time awaits him to transform potential into legacy. And if he continues at this pace, the path to the Hall of Fame is not only possible, it seems long. But even with all this talent on defense, the Eagles know that no title campaign is built on technique, explosiveness, or talent alone. There's an invisible but fundamental element that underpins all of this, and it comes from the most pressured and watched position in the NFL. Because in the end, it all comes back to the man who guides that momentum in moments of maximum pressure. And if there's anyone who knows that pressure and turns it into fuel, it's Jalen Hurts. As analysts criticize Jalen Hurts' stats and rankings debates rage on ESPN, a voice in the Eagles locker room is speaking out to silence the noise. And it's not just a coach or staff member. It's none other than wide receiver Jahan Dotson, who gave a bold and candid statement about Hurts that should silence all critics still questioning his legitimacy. In a powerful interview on the Philly Special Show, Dotson didn't talk about Hurts' arm strength or running ability. He talked about leadership. He's the ultimate leader, Dotson said bluntly. Every time I talk about Jalen, that's what comes to mind. He's exactly who you think he is. On the field, in the locker room, during press conferences, he's that guy all the time. Dotson even joked that Hurts uses perfect quotation marks, like Nike slogans, because everything he says is inspiring. He literally speaks in quotation marks. You could print what he says on a t-shirt. This consistency, this presence, is what ESPN and the critics ignore when they rank Hurts 9th, or leave him out of top 10 lists altogether, as Cam Newton did. They see his 2,903 passing yards and 18 touchdowns last year and call it average. What they don't see is the MVP-level leadership that led the Eagles to another Super Bowl and earned Hurts a league-best 68.7% completion rate, 5 interceptions, and the only QB in NFL history to rush for 10-plus touchdowns in 4 consecutive seasons. As Dotson made clear, Hurts isn't just a quarterback. He's a culture. He's the engine that transforms Philadelphia from good to great. With a contract impasse threatening Drew Mukuba's integration, Jaylen Carter's meteoric rise to the NFL elite, and Jalen Hurts' undisputed leadership that has silenced even the most vocal critics. Do the Eagles have all the pieces in place to build a new dynasty in 2025, or are they still missing a final link to complete this historic era? Leave your opinion here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, but I'll be back later to update you with the latest Eagles news.